Hi,
Hi.
welcome back. So V2 of the 3.1 betas just came out and I wanted to make a video discussing Robin and Tribbie. There were no changes from V1 to V2, so I felt it was safe to assume that not many major changes are going to happen to Tribbie's kit, and everything said here is most likely going to stay true until the end of the betas, but of course, still subject to change. And honestly, Tribbie's kit is at a very good place right now, not so absolutely broken that people are going to scream power creep every time they see her, and not so bad that people will absolutely doom post the shit out of her. Oh wait, never mind, people are doing both already. God. Other than Tribbie being one of the worst looking characters and having one of the worst voices of all time, we're going to be looking at her and Robin's kits and compare them to see which one is best for you. I do genuinely believe there is no overall value difference in the long term between these two, but there are many different account scenarios and investment options for either of them, so while I've always said Robin is a must-pull unit, for some people she may be a complete skip in her upcoming rerun because they have an account that would be more suited towards Tribbie and vice versa. So let's look at Robin and Tribbie's kits and let's see which one is the best for you. Before we start, you should like, comment and subscribe for more content like this in the future and join the Express and Discord server for a fun community all about video games and anime. We've got info about all Hoyoverse and Kuro Games titles, so if you're looking for that and more, then join the Express Train. Finally, this video is obviously going to contain leaked kits, but no leaked gameplay. Now enough of that and let's get on to it. So first things first, let's take a look at Tribbie's kit. Her basic attack is a blast, but nothing special about it. With her skill, she gives the party 24% all-type resistance penetration for 3 turns. And with her ultimate, she deals damage to all enemies as well as implanting 30% vulnerability on them for 3 turns with a zone. And with her talent, she deals a follow-up attack every time a character in the party uses an ultimate. She has to have one of the most basic kits of any of the 5-star supports because there's not much to yap about here. 24% rest pen, 30% vulnerability, and her talent is just a follow-up attack and her traces just increase her own damage and energy regen. Now a lot of people have been doom posting the hell out of Tribbie as I said, because she's apparently not good or useless or whatever, but I believe those people really don't know how powerful 30% vulnerability and 24% resistance penetration with 100% uptime are. Ruanmei has 25% rest pen but only with her ultimate. There's usually a 1 turn downtime on it, so she's really not that bad.
Oh! Hell, dude! What the fuck?
So the teams Tribbie is most useful for are any teams that are good matchups against AoE scenarios that also use ultimates often. The prime subject for her is obviously going to be Big Herta, but she's also the best support for My Day in 3.1, and speculated to be a good support for Castoris in 3.2, but there's no confirmation about that yet since we don't know anything about Castoris' kit yet. Basically, if your team does AoE and lots of ultimates, Tribbie is going to be the best support for it most likely. She's going to be the downright best support for 99% of upcoming DPS units, unless they're an FUA unit and not an old spam AoE unit. We all know what Robin does. She gives 50% damage, around 23% of her own attack, 25% FUA crit damage, 20% overall crit damage, and a 100% action advance. And I might be skipping something, she does a lot of stuff. The main reason people may be shitting out Tribbie is because Robin's kit is insanely bloated compared to hers, but with Tribbie it's more so quality over quantity, I guess, even though Robin's buff still have a lot of quality. Either way, Robin is also an incredibly powerful generalist support, just like Tribbie, but instead of AoE, she's much better against single target enemies. Tribbie's follow-up attack won't do as much damage as Robin's extra damage against single target enemies, especially since Robin deals around 10k every single time an ally attacks, but Tribbie only does around 30k with medium investment built to each target on the field, only when an ally does an ultimate. So old spam teams are for Tribbie, FUA spam teams are for Robin, and let's give Ruanmei a cameo here and say she's obviously the best for break teams. Now let's talk about when you should pull either Robin or Tribbie or neither. If you have Fei Xiao and you don't have Robin, you should 1000% get Robin. And 3.x and further, getting Robin for Fei Xiao is going to be like getting Jiaoqiu for Acheron or Sunday for Aglaia. She really needs her to stay where she is in the meta. If you have Sunday and want to pull Aglaia, but also think you have enough funds for Robin, then you shouldn't think about pulling Tribbie, and you should just go all in on Robin and Aglaia. If you already have Robin and Ruanmei both, then I would honestly consider getting Robin Z1 over getting Tribbie, because you would get Robin's action advance and part of Tribbie's kit without having to build a new character. However, only do that if you already have both Robin and Ruanmei. If you are somebody who likes the zero cycle a lot, then I believe Robin is a much wiser investment long term than Tribbie, even though Tribby will be the best character for the new DPS units. In the future though, Tribby won't always be the best, and Robin will beat her when it comes to zero cycling, because that 100% action advance is way too broken. If she didn't have it, she would have way less value. So if you like to zero cycle, or you think you would enjoy trying to zero cycle, definitely get Robin over Tribby, and even if you have Robin, then again, I would really consider getting Robin Z1 over Tribby because that 20% resp it gives would help you a lot more with any damage checks you might encounter. Robin Z1 is also just a foolproof way to almost completely avoid all sorts of power creep. Even Jing Liu can zero cycle with E1 Robin. So if you have older units you want to keep using as much as possible, then E1 Robin is a very good choice. Again though, just to clarify, if you only have Robin as a 5-star support and nobody else, you should definitely go for Tribby instead, or even Sunday in the future. Now let's see when you should get Tribby. First off, you should 1000% get Tribby if you only have one other 5-star support, especially if it's just Robin. If you only have one other 5-star support that isn't Robin, you can totally just get Robin on her rerun instead, whichever you prefer or whichever you need. If you have Picarda though, or you're going to get My Day, you should definitely get Tribby as she is their best support undoubtedly. If you want to use the newer DPS units at their most efficient, other than Aglaia, then definitely get Tribby. She is, as I said earlier, going to be the best support for 9 out of 10 of the new DPS units, possibly even just to trade up 10 out of 10. If you're considering Tribby's Eidolons, then I really would advise against them. They're really not that good other than for her own damage, and even then you would have to go up to E6 for her to be doing main DPS levels of damage, or you could just pull main DPS units. Re2 though does make allies deal a bunch of true damage, but again I really wouldn't consider it. If you're looking for true damage, then just use Remembrance FC. They are a broken support just as much as she is because they are completely free. And finally, you should also not feel compelled to pull for her if you don't like her whatsoever. I, of course, absolutely hate everything about her, and I'm absolutely not going to pull for her, even if I was given $100 to do so. Now $101, maybe. Just 100 though, not a chance. So if you also don't like her, you really don't have to pull for her, and as we've said before, especially if you already have 2 5-star supports. Robin and Sunday, Robin and Ruanmei, Sunday and Ruanmei. If you have 2 of them, you really don't have to get her. The differences between Tribbie and Robin in a big Herda team, for example, are at their biggest, going to be from a half cycle up to a full cycle in Tribbie's favor, and Robin's clears are going to be pretty equal most of the time for most people. If you don't like Tribbie, you really don't have to get her. Now this also goes in the opposite way. If you don't like Robin and like Tribbie instead, then you should get the character you like. It's just that if you like Tribbie more than Robin, somebody probably needs to check your hard drive. So let's do a quick summary. If you have lots of AoE teams and no FUA teams and don't exactly prefer Robin over Tribbie, then definitely get Tribbie. However, if you get Robin instead, you won't see that drastic of a difference between the two. They're both incredibly powerful generalist supports, each with their niches, and each of them are slightly better than the other in each of them. If you have Fei Xiao or any other FUA unit like Yunli or Doctor Ratio and want to make them stronger, then again definitely get Robin, and you'll see some very great results, with Fei Xiao obviously being the best. If you already have Robin, then getting her E1 is definitely a very good option to consider because of how powerful it is. It's almost half of what Tribbie's kit is, and E1 Robin is most of the time going to be considerably better than E0 or possibly even E1 Tribbie, but I haven't really seen E1 Tribbie's damage. When you start talking about E2s is when things get a lot more complicated, but I really don't care to discuss them right now. If you only have no 5-star supports, then get both Robin and Tribbie. If you want to get Aglaia, then get Robin for her as well, and if you already have Robin and just want to try out new things and think Tribbie looks interesting, get her too. And that should probably cover all the bases. In my opinion, I would 9 times out of 10 go for Robin instead of Tribbie. Because of that action advance, it is just way too powerful, but for like the 100th time, there isn't going to be much difference between the two. Honestly, this is one of the best things they've done in a while. The fact that Tribbie isn't absolutely broken or absolutely docked is really, really nice. She's not always a must pull even though she's a very powerful character with certain teams, because Robin does a very good job on those teams instead of her, but she is also not always a skip. I was very worried that Tribbie would cause a lot of power creep, but that's just not the case thankfully. She's very balanced for this game and her kit is not bloated. If they keep making units like Tribbie, then the game is going to head back to a very right direction. And I really hope they do. My Day seems to also be just a very good DPS unit that doesn't necessarily power creep anybody, or is much worse than anybody. But he's a subject for another video. Hopefully they keep making characters like this and the game will become much better, but hey, it's Hoyo, who knows. That's it, thank you so much for watching, and I hopefully helped you reach a decision. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and join the Express Train Discord server for a fun community all about video games and anime, where you will find any information about Star Rail and any other mainstream gacha game that you may be looking for. Thank you again for watching. and I'll see you next time.